pageantry at Skip Bayless. They'll have a parade.
Pomp and circumstance.
Everything.
Red carpet.
They have a marching band.
Yep. Lots of food and drink for the media.
And a lot of coach speak. He's going to thank Jerry Jones and the Jones family for giving him this opportunity.
Yep.
He's been away, got an opportunity to recharge his batteries, refocus.
You're all about that. The McCarthy file.
Right. Skip, he's going to talk about, that what a unique and great opportunity this is to coach such a storied franchise. And everybody will talk about how Jerry wants to meddle. And I don't have a problem with Jerry meddling. Jerry just wants to win. Jerry and I want the same thing. He wants to win. I want to win. And that's why he brought me here.
True.
So he's going to say all the right things. Jerry will also say, this is the guy that I targeted all along. Whether it's true or not, Skip, Jerry will always lead you to believe he got exactly what he wanted at the exact price that he wanted to pay for it.
Yep.
And so I expect just to be a normal, outside of the pageantry, as you mentioned, is going to be an extravaganza because Jerry hasn't had one of these in an extremely long time. And Jerry likes to go over the top when they – I could have just imagined that first Super Bowl that they won, the pageantry behind that, Skip. Yep. And then kind of maybe the second wasn't as much, the third to kind of get old habit. Well, maybe the third was more because he got the opportunity to do it the way he wanted to do it. So I like some of the staff that he's putting together, Skip. Now, I know John Fossil very well. His dad was my offensive coordinator in the mid-'90s. Yep. He was a ball boy. Mm-hmm. So I know John Fossil since he was about 10, 11 years of age.
Now called Bones.
He's called Bones. He's always been thin like that. His dad was fairly thin. Thomas Sewell, I don't really know a whole lot about him. I do know Mike Nolan very well. I'm going to reach out by him via text and send him a text and congratulate him on getting back into as a defensive coordinator. Skip, I like the staff that he's putting together. Like I said, when I look at Mike McCarthy, Skip, I don't think a splash. I think a solid. Okay. He's like you said, he's a coach that doesn't like, ooh, man, did you see that hire that they just got?
Yep.
He's not one of those,
nope.
But he's solid. He's almost 50 games over 500. He's won a lot of division titles. He's gotten to and won a Super Bowl, so he has that on his resume. And this is a far cry from what Jerry normally does. I think in his career, Skip, he's only hired one other Super Bowl winning coach, and that's Parcells. So he thought that this was the guy that could get him to what he ultimately wants, and that's another Super Bowl. He didn't want a first-year guy, Skip. He's like, this team is ready to launch right now. The word you use is launch. They're ready to take off right now. I need a captain that's flown his ship like this before. This is not going to be the first ship that he flies. So I'm going to get a lot of coaches speak. Jerry's going to pat himself on the back and tell you what a great job he's done, dotting all his I's and crossing his T's. So I don't expect anything other than the extravaganza of the hoopla, but just to be a normal press conference.
Speaking of extravaganzas, if my memory serves, the Wade Phillips press conference wasn't of this magnitude. No. But if you go back to January 2nd of 2003, that was the Bill Parcells welcome to Dallas press conference, and that had magnitude. That was Richter scale. This will be of that magnitude. This will be Jerry pulling out all the stops because first and foremost, Jerry Jones is a super salesman.
Yes.
And Jerry Jones is a showman. Yep. And you will see both qualities in full force today in Dallas. It will be all of his three kids. It'll be the two sons and the daughter. And all of the grandchildren will be on full display. It will be a family affair with a big red carpet rolled out for Mike McCarthy and his family. And they might even
blue
have...
Carpet, Skip.
What's that?
It'll be cowboy blue.
Blue carpet, red, blue. Okay, I'll go with that. I can live with that. And Jerry's message will be, I have just hired a coach who won a Super Bowl in my stadium, and he will bring another Super Bowl trophy back to my stadium in the near future. Maybe plural Super Bowl trophies.
Yes.
And I believe that Jerry will initially sell what now a lot of the national media is starting to sell, excuse me, Jenny, and that is a Cowboy coaching staff that has become a super staff. And if we're just talking about experience, I will give you super. Because you can't get much more experienced, much more head coaching lineage than what has been compiled. And some of these moves are not official and done yet. Sure. So I'm going to have to guess that they're happening.
Right.
But again, we talked yesterday about Mike Nolan. Obviously, his father, Dick, who I knew very well when he was a Cowboy assistant, was 11 years a head coach in the National Football League at San Francisco and New Orleans. So now you got his son, who was for 4 years the head coach at San Francisco and 17 seasons a defensive coordinator in the National Football League.
Yep.
That's a lot of experience and lineage there, right? Father to son. And you just mentioned John Fossil. Obviously, his father was a head coach for 7 years with the Giants, and in fact was the head coach of the Giants who played your Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl.
And got beat down.
Got beat down. It was a complete wipeout. Not so much thanks to Shannon Sharpe.
But we did score 34 points.
Yeah,
okay, they got a pick six,
Yeah,
4 touchdowns,
and how about a kickoff return?
Okay, so we got 20-something points.
Okay. And Shannon Sharpe caught
One pass.
one pass in that
5
game.
yards.
Okay, 1 for 5. But again, it's okay. You were there, and you were part of the beatdown. But again, that was, Jim Fossil coaching the other side. So John has lineage. He's got football blood. You know, he inherited a lot
Their
of...
special teams will be substantially better than what they've been.
I will agree with that. And I'm a little surprised the Rams have let him go as well as Wade Phillips go. I don't know what's going on. They're going to just... That's what happens to the Super Bowl loser every year. The bottom seems to fall out, and they say, let's start over.
Start over.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, and that brings me to Jim Tomsula, who was briefly the head coach in San Francisco.
Right.
So he's at least been in the league for 13 years. He's been the Redskins defensive line coach, and he will be supposedly the defensive line coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So you got a lot of experience added on top of a Mike McCarthy, who was head coach in Green Bay, for those who've forgotten, for 13 years. And before that, he was an offensive coordinator in the National Football League for 6 years. So that's 19 years of head coach plus coordinator experience. So when I step back, and you made this point at the end of the show yesterday, when you look at what the division rival Giants did, Joe Judge? What?
See the headlines
Yep.
today?
And when you look at what the Carolina Panthers just did, Matt Rule, if you're talking, if experience can win Super Bowls, coaching experience, then my team is poised to win the next 5 Super Bowls, right?
That is
I'm not
fair.
sure that will
is
happen,
fair.
but that's given what the Giants did and the Carolina Panthers did. That is the opposite of experience as to what this staff has. Now let's talk quickly about the one new assistant, who's the old assistant, who has little to no experience in the National Football League, and his name is Kellen Moore.
Correct.
And he had a chance to join his friend Jimmy Lake, who's the head coach at University of Washington, as the coordinator there. But I guess Kellen, if this is to be believed, if it's done, it sounds like it's heading in this direction. If he's going to stay, then he opted to say, I don't want to go back to college football when I've actually made a pretty good splash in pro football.
Right.
Okay, here's my problem with that. He is about to be completely demoted from true offensive coordinator and play caller to just the quarterback coach.
Well, he might have the title of offensive coordinator, but he's not going to call any plays.
He's not going to call any plays. Mike McCarthy's going to call plays, and I don't have a huge problem with that for Mike's sake, because he's earned the right to call plays, because that's pretty much all he's ever done.
And plus, Skip, this is what Kellen Moore. This is his first year in this offense.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's his offense.
No way.
Right. So I agree with you. I don't have a problem with Mike. He should.
Okay. So what's the plus in my eyes? At least Dak's going to have somebody he trusts in the meeting room. He will have a liaison to Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore, who's like a big brother to Dak. They're very close. They're very connected. Again, I told you yesterday, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
Right.
And now they're going to try to fix what wasn't broken, because they led the league in yards gained.
But here's the thing, Skip. You got a new head coach. New head coach comes in, you got a new offense.
Yeah.
If you franchise Dak, what's the likelihood he's showing up for OTAs? What's the likelihood he's showing up for minicamp?
Wow.
What's the likelihood he's showing up before training camp?
What's the likelihood of winning games 1 and 2? Not very good.
Okay, then. So,
right?
so in other words, so now Dak is back in an advantageous position.
Okay? He has to participate.
Yes.
This is start over.
Yes.
I told you, next year's preseason games are crucial for
Yes.
Dak Prescott. All the verbiage is different. All the play calls are different.
Absolutely.
You're going to have to be looking at a wristband
Yep.
for the first time. What? What did you just say? Oh, it's that one. Kellen Moore could be essential and crucial to the process of learning a new offense, just because he's a familiar set of eyes, ears, voice where you can say, okay, I can trust what he's telling me, even if I don't really understand what the big guy's telling me.
Right. And he can just put it, like I said, Skip, when I went to Baltimore, there are certain plays that I had to like, okay, this is what it means in this offense. So when Dak hears a play, say, two-jet flanker drive, Kellen Moore can say, Dak, that's just like, this play right here. And Dak's like, oh, okay, now I see. So there is a familiarity with a guy, and he can put it in terms of Dak. This is what this play is.
Okay.
It's just another name for the play that we ran last.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.